It is Good Friday and the veil has been lifted, and live from the Kenyatta University Communication Center, you are just in time for the Good Friday edition of the Prime Time News on this third day of the month of April. I do hope you've had a lovely holiday wherever you are as the Easter festivities key in. My name is Emmanuel Kutosi, and tonight you are in for a treat with reports coming in from across the country and also beyond our very borders. But how about you look at tonight's top stories? Easter festivities kick off with faithful joining Good Friday processions as calls are made for unity among the country's leaders.
Watu wengi hawako. Hata leo sasa tunajituma sana. Leo kidogo kile nataka tumpeleke ule sherehe speak, unajua. Mimi na wakana vika kama mtu sasa napunguza na limit tu.
Makasi hakuna. Hata vile unaona tu hakuna movement ya watu, magari na tena hakuna, ofisi imefungwa. Hakuna watu na hakuna kazi. Since asubuhi vile nimeingia hakuna mtu nimepepa hata mmoja.
Political leaders urge to address harsh economic situations and take decisive action against corruption affecting Kenyans.
The barooning, taxes, and so on. We need to help each other, uplift each other, and even our leaders are called upon to imitate Christ, who was there not to be served but to serve others.
Some of our leaders, of course, they are not doing what they are supposed to do. They don't respect those who elected them, but we are human beings. We accept them, we pray for them, and we accept also helping them to construct this country.
Calls intensify in the coastal region for youth to register as voters ahead of the next year's general election.
Mimi kama Gen Z, mheshimiwa wangu Matiangi, I trust you. Naamini kuwa sauti zetu sisi kama Gen Z zitasikika.
Tumeongea hawa waheshimiwa aspirants, tumeongea na tumekubaliana nao ya kwamba kila mtu sehemu yake afanye kuhakikisha kwamba tumeandikisha new voters na wale wengine ambao pengine.
The Capital Markets Authority conducts public participation on new regulations for virtual asset service providers and cryptocurrency.
We already have who are providing those services in the country, but not being a licensed government. So here we have a process for consumers, because no one is there to protect them.
Welcome to the broadcast that is also streaming live on YouTube on Kutv News Kenya. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Kutv is live. Francis Okinyi will be with us in the sign language interpretation. And now to the key story of the day, where Christians across the country today marked Good Friday with a solemn observance retracing the final journey of Jesus Christ through the way of the cross. The procession, marked by prayer, reflection, and symbolic reenactments, drew believers seeking to deepen their faith amid calls for peace, unity, and moral renewal within society.
A somber mood marked Good Friday observances as Kenya's thronged churches and streets for the way of the cross, where religious leaders used the moment to urge political leaders to address economic hardships, corruption, and citizens' growing burden. The Administrator of the Holy Family Basilica, Michael Ndicho, joined the faithful in the Good Friday Way of the Cross, emphasizing reflection, prayer, and spiritual renewal during the Easter season.
Our civil readers, what I will say to them, imitating the life of Christ is about humility.
He encouraged Christians to draw lessons from the suffering of Christ and remain steadfast in faith, using the occasion to deepen their commitment to God and strengthen unity among believers.
And this was not just a walk. It's to remember all that happened to our Lord Jesus Christ, his own passion, suffering, and death. And we were able to enact that. But beyond enactment, what we are being reminded is that we have to imitate our Lord Jesus Christ, who did everything in order to save humanity. That he took our own form, accepted death, even death on the cross.
While speaking at the Good Friday Way of the Cross at the Consolata Shrine in Westlands, Nairobi, Father Deogracius Kibiringo, a Catholic priest at the shrine, said the year's reflections were designed to make the suffering of Christ more relatable by linking the 14 stations to modern-day struggles faced by the faithfuls.
We have to assume our crosses. In fact, when we imitate Christ who carries out his cross and dies on it, we have to know, whatever we are doing, our crosses, we accept them, we accept Christ calling us, and we accept the suffering of our brothers, even our own sufferings. There is suffering of so many Kenyans. Let us put them to the cross of Jesus Christ, and let us ask Christ to help us to alleviate these crosses which we go through by imitating him, by following him, loving him, and resurrecting with him. That will help us.
Christian leaders also highlighted the suffering of people in the Middle East amid the ongoing conflict, urging believers to support those affected and calling on governments to also provide assistance, while encouraging prayerful leaders, faith, patience, endurance, unity, and hope in daily lives.
So as we participate, we would like to meditate and see all the sufferings we go through, especially the sufferings of our brothers and sisters in the Middle East and all countries of the world, but above all in Iran, Israel, Palestine, Kuwait, and the Middle East countries. We join them because there we have brothers and sisters who also suffer, and most of our brothers have passed on.
We also want to bring to attention all the sufferings of the marginalized, the young people, and those who are crying for justice in our society. And so in this way of the cross, we want to walk together with Christ. We want to suffer together with Christ with a purpose.
Thousands of Christians have gathered today to remember the death and the crucifixion of Jesus Christ by the work of the cross. Edanerea, Kutv, Nairobi.
Faith in reflection indeed. Thank you, Edanerea, for that report. Now, still in keeping with the spirit, the capital city of Nairobi remained unusually quiet as the Easter celebrations approached their peak. Businesses' activities were witnessed to have slowed down, with noticeably fewer people moving around in the city center. As highlighted in this report, traders had no choice but to close early, allowing the calm of Easter to take over.
This Good Friday in Nairobi was enveloped in unusual calm, with many businesses closed and streets sparsely populated compared to regular days. The reduction in the number of people appeared to significantly affect economic activity, while only a few businesses continued to operate. Jethro Kirui, a city boda rider, expressed concerns over the drop in customers, saying business was much lower than on normal working days.
Tuseme kasi hakuna. Hata vile unaona tu hakuna movement ya watu, magari na tena hakuna, ofisi imefungwa. Vile umetukuta hapa, so umetukuta tukiwa tumeongea na marafiki zangu hapa. Tunajadiliana tufanye nini, tukae tu hivi ama turudi kwa manyumba.
Although he acknowledged that the number of people was low and demand for his services had decreased, the city photographer remained hopeful of finding customers before the day ended.
Today we come up Pasaka, the flow is not that good, but I can say it's a bit fair.
Additionally, Festus Makau, a showmaker in the city center, said his work continued smoothly despite the slowdown in business, showing confidence that this situation was only temporary.
Mpaka saa Monday tu unajua kazi yangu na depend kwa shughuli tu. Ile kidogo iko napata na peleka, lakini sasa leo unajua ile pale nenda kuchukua mali hajaingia sana juu ni holiday, watu wengi hawako.
Businesses at the Nairobi CBD have been closed, with some running but traders complaining of the low customer turnout. Murugi Gaki, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Murugi Gaki, for that story. Now, as concerns grow over rising political tensions, the Catholic Church in Embu is now working again to undermine national unity. Speaking during the Way of the Cross observed, Bishop leaders to exercise restraint, cautioning that reckless statements risk fueling divisions among Kenyans. He emphasized that the country's stability largely depends on the tone set by those in leadership, noting that politicians wield significant influence over public opinion and social cohesion. The bishop challenged leaders to reflect on their words, urging them to prioritize messages that promote peace rather than discord. Bishop Kimani also encouraged Kenyans to embrace tolerance, respect differing views, and engage in constructive dialogue as a foundation for peaceful coexistence.
Maneno ambayo yanaunganisha, maneno yanayoleta ushirikiano na umoja. Kila mtu anapotamka neno lake, kama vile maskofu wanavyouliza kila wakati. Neno ambalo na fikra ambazo zilizo nazo katika kichwa chako sio lazima zipitie katika mdomo wako. Ziweze kuzichunga na uweze kujiuliza, je, neno hili litaleta ushirikiano, litaleta umoja, ama litaleta magawanyiko na utengano katikati ya watu.
And even within the Easter season, politics is around, and particularly on matters of civic duty, where the Jubilee Party has stepped up grassroots mobilization in Mombasa County, ramping up efforts to boost voter registration ahead of the 2027 general election. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is targeting at least 183,000 new voters in the county, a move that could push Mombasa's voter roll over to 825,000. Speaking in Kizengo, party officials say the focus is on mobilizing youth to register as Jubilee positions itself to reclaim political dominance across the coast region. County Chair Richard Barake says the drive is part of a broader strategy to paint Mombasa red in the next election. The push comes ahead of a planned visit next week by Deputy Party Leader Fred Matiang'i, who is expected to tour the region alongside leaders of the United Alternative Government Coalition.
Tumeongea hawa waheshimiwa aspirants, tumeongea na tumekubaliana nao ya kwamba kila mtu sehemu yake afanye kuhakikisha kwamba tumeandikisha new voters, na wale wengine ambao pengine walikuwa wamehamisha kura zao kwingine ama wameandikishwa kwingine waregeshe kura zao ile sehemu ambao watagombania viti vyao. Kwa hivyo tumeanza huu mchakato wa kuandikisha especially the young people ambao wamechukua vitambulisho hivi karibuni, na tunaomba ya kwamba accessibility ya wale officials wa IBC ambao wanaandikisha vijana ama wanaandikisha kura wawe sehemu ambazo hasitakuwa vigumu kufikiwa.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for keeping it KUTV. We do take our first break on this Good Friday edition of the KUTV Primetime News. In a moment, I'll be coming back with more reports.
As a farm, the part of our vision is to build a small farm to become a model farm, particularly to demonstrate regenerative agriculture. So we've designed, it's about 4.5 acres with about 8 enterprises. Now transitioning from poultry, I think in the next 5 years.
Get ready to embark on a journey into the exciting world of technology as we uncover the latest trends, interview top thought leaders, and dive deep into the world of tech like never before.
Currently, we are facing the challenge in terms of finance. It requires one to move from different counties because we really need a large data set for our model to be more accurate.
In this new and exciting series of the Technovation Show, join me, Yvonne Kimuma, every Monday, 8:30 p.m. for a fun and thrilling experience as we explore the cutting-edge developments, meet visionaries driving change.
Somebody who is in the underground mine doesn't know the presence of them. So there are a lot of gases involved. There is methane, there's carbon monoxide, and there's also hydrogen sulfide. These gases actually, they are very dangerous and they're very toxic.
And discover the endless possibilities of the tech world. Wanasema kula uhondo kwa taka matendo, na bila shaka matendo yake yakazaa uhondo. Bidii na panda shuka zake zikamfanya awe mwanga wa dunia.
Pauline Care ni mwalimu wa walimu. Nilijua nilikuwa ninataka kufanya kwa mochari.
Nilijitolea kimasomaso, nikasema manake nimeenda shule kama wenzangu wa kiume, nitafanya kazi kadri na uwezo wangu.
Inafika mahali ile game yenye umesema hiyo ndio naenda ku give up na uachane na boxing, ndio unapata WBC.
Fahamu mwanamke huyu kwa utendeti zaidi ukitazama kipindi cha Mwanamke Mwake Mwake. Kila Jumatano saa 2:30 usiku, ukiwa nami Caroline Kimwele.
Back to the Good Friday edition of the KUTV Prime Time News. Now, Kenya's economy is showing signs of a steady recovery driven by reforms in public finance, growth in tourism, and improved performance in the banking sector. Stakeholders are now calling for skills development, strategic partnerships, and innovations to sustain this momentum. This and more in our business wrap.
The Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya is now urging county governments to invest in continuous training of their accountants.
Oba lobi langu la kwanza ni kuomba magavana wetu, kama wale wanasibu wetu wako pale kwa counties hawajapata hizo pesa, tunaomba watenge hizo pesa kwa bajeti ndio waweze kuwapeleka training tofauti na ndio waweze kukua na ule ujuzi wa kutekeleza mahesabu ile inafaa kulingana na kisheria.
Speaking in Embu, ISPAC Mount Kenya Chair Paul Njuguna says evolving audit standards and new technologies demand regular upskilling to improve accountability. He notes that many audit queries flagged by the Office of the Auditor General are often due to gaps in technical capacity rather than outright misuse of public funds.
Kuna mpangilio mpya kutikana na ile mikakati imewekwa na bodi za kitaifa vile mahesabu inafaa kufanywa. Kama hatapata hiyo chance ya kwenda kuwa trained, itakuwa kwa shida sana, kwa sababu tuna mifumo mipya inakuja kutengeneza hiyo na kusimamia vile mahesabu inafanywa.
ISPAC is also pushing for more accountants in the counties to register with the professional body to enhance credibility in finance reporting.
Governor wao wanapea ama wanalipia ile subscription fee ya kila mwaka kwa sababu itawasaidia zaidi. Angalia kwa hizo counties, most of the wanahasibu wote wale wanatayarisha hiyo mahesabu si wana member wetu, they are not our members. Na ndio sababu tunasema wakuwe members wetu, kwa sababu tuko na mikakati. Tunafaa kuonyesha vile hiyo mahesabu katika county assembly vile inafaa kutengeneza na kutayarishwa.
At the same time, the tourism sector is gaining momentum through strategic partnerships.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The Kenya Tourism Board has teamed up with Visa INC and Kenya Airways to roll out a 6-month travel campaign offering discounts of up to 8% on flights.
We are extremely excited to announce this partnership between Kenya Tourism Board through our Magical Kenya brand, Kenya Airways and Visa, that is seeking to strengthen Kenya's position as a premier global tourism destination through innovative data-driven marketing.
The initiative aims to boost both domestic and international travel while leveraging data and digital payments to enhance visitor experience and grow tourism numbers.
Our partnerships like this, whether it is educational trips, whether it is exposure, whether we are talking about the best offers and the best deals, there's always talk that it's expensive to fly within Africa, but Kenya Airways is committed through our KQ Holidays product to offer leisure rates.
This comes as Kenya recorded a strong tourism performance in 2025, adding about 500 billion shillings and attracting 7.9 million visitors.
So enabling tourists to come with a very simple, frictionless, seamless payment experiences, but also partner with you in the space of data, help you to navigate with a lot better understanding on who is coming, what is their behavior, how they spend, how they bring revenue to the country.
International arrivals grew by 9%, outperforming the global average and reinforcing Kenya's position as a top travel destination. Meanwhile, the Consolidated Bank of Kenya has posted a turnaround, reporting a pre-tax profit of 217 million shillings for 2025.
Means that the profit which we generate as a bank actually goes back to fund the exchequer, thereby coming again back to these various parastatals to support them in their various programs.
The bank attributes the improved performance to efficiency measures, increased investment in government securities, and a renewed focus on SMEs and public sector partnerships.
So invested in government securities up 29% compared to the previous year. Our loans uptake went up by 1%. Our customers' deposit also went up by 10%. We also maintain a impressive liquidity ratio.
As Kenya pushes for sustained economic growth, experts say investment in skills, innovation, and cross-sector collaboration will be key in strengthening resilience and unlocking new opportunities. And from business to its twin agriculture, where the Kenya tea sector is now back on a growth trajectory, according to the 2025 Kenya Tea Industry Performance Report. The sector registered a 218.79 billion shilling market value in the previous year. Speaking during the release of the annual report, Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe noted that the growth was driven by aggressive market expansion and new regulation.
According to the latest Kenya Tea Industry Performance Report, the sector has recorded major gains across all key indicators, including export earnings, volumes, domestic sales growth, and market value. Export earnings rose to 186.91 billion shillings, up by 2.87%, while export volumes hit 652.8 million kilograms, marking a 9.81% increase. Domestic sales grew by 6%, with total market value increasing by 2% from 2024 and 11% from 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, out of this marketed value, export earnings rose to Kenya shillings 186.91 billion, representing a 2.87% increase. And that translated to 5.22 billion. represent from Kenya shillings 181.69 billion recorded in 2024.
Speaking during the launch of the report, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe commended the growth, noting that the results are due to deliberate efforts by the government.
Despite these challenges of the global economic shocks, slow expansion of the global economy, internal conflicts in some of the key markets, and a stronger exchange rate of the Kenya shilling against the US dollar, the tea industry remained resilient in 2025 and recorded more sales, higher earnings, and more markets compared to the year 2024.
Additionally, Kenya Tea expanded its global footprint by reaching 100 international markets.
The tea levy regulations operationalized Section 53 of the Act by a tea levy of 0.8% on tea exports not in, and a 100% levy on tea imports as a protection measure against dumping and unfair competition.
The government has also signed into law 2 transformational frameworks aimed at ensuring efficient traceability and accountability across the tea value chain. All actors in the tea supply chain will be required to undertake comprehensive registration and compliance. Yvonne Kemuma, KUTV.
Thank you, Van Kuma, for that report. Now, Kenya is moving to tighten oversight over the fast-growing virtual asset sector, with the Capital Markets Authority spearheading public participation on proposed regulation targeting crypto service providers. The draft rule aims to operationalize the Virtual Asset Service Providers Act, signed into law in November last year, as the government races to bring order to a largely unregulated space. Speaking during a stakeholder forum, Capital Markets Authority Manager for Capital Markets, Jairus Mwaka, said the regulations will introduce licensing requirements and strict compliance measures for all operators. Authorities further warned that the absence of regulation has left many Kenyans, especially the youth and others, to vulnerability on matters of crypto-related scams. The proposed framework will see joint oversight by the Central Bank of Kenya and the Capital Markets Authority.
Put the problems of Kenyans to one person. All of us, we are inclusive. All of us, we...
These regulations came up because we already have Virtual Asset Services Providers Act, which was enacted in November last year, and of course assented to by the President on 15th of November. It became effective on 4th. So to operationalize the Act, the government, through the National Treasury and through the multi-agency task force, we developed the draft regulations, which we've taken through the stakeholder engagements, and now we are doing what we call public participation so that we can at least get the views from the public.
Now, health experts are calling on the government to enforce stricter laws to curb indiscriminate tree cutting, warning that continued deforestation could lead to prolonged droughts and disrupt rainfall patterns. Speaking during a tree planting event at Mount Kenya University, the experts noted that erratic rainfall patterns are already being witnessed and raising concerns over food security and water shortages. They are now urging Kenyans to take personal responsibility by planting more trees and embracing environmental conservation even during special occasions to help secure a sustainable future.
You know, you're an alumni There should be tougher penalties for the people that are actually just involved in cutting trees without understanding why the trees are there, or rather not replacing the trees that they're cutting down. Ideally, we should have, for everything that is being cut down, there should be a replacement done for them. So penalties, if we have penalties that will actually gun people down and tell them if you destroy or if you get rid of a tree, then this is what is going to happen for you, that is going to reduce the number of trees that are being cut down.
People need to be educated in a manner that is a little bit sustainable. Yeah, when people cut down trees for purposes of charcoal, for purposes of non-renewable energy, that has consequences. One, the population of the world is increasing, resources are getting scarce, so we can't allow people just to keep chopping down trees without replacing them.
All right, we have touched down within the sporting arena where the Harambee Starlets have intensified training in camp as they prepare for the 2026 FIFA Series Women's Tournament. The national women's team is continuing to sharpen tactics and build cohesion ahead of matches scheduled for the 11th and 15th of April. The matches will be played at the Nyayo Stadium, giving them home advantage. The technical bench is confident the squad will perform well and elevate Kenya's profile on the international stage.
Venye timu imerudi hivyo pamoja, najua hii wiki mbili tutakaa hivyo pamoja na tutaelewana venye tumezoea, na tuta make sure tukienda kucheza hizo friendly tuko sawa, wote tunajuana venye tuko.
Na feel poa kwa kupewa hii chance kushowcase my talent tena, so ni privilege poa na sita I take for granted. Kampi iko poa, kila mtu ana push. Na hii FIFA series tuna hope to perform well. Most of us tupate another opportunity, pia our young players will learn from sisi.
And on to the Kenya Premier League, where former champion Sofapaka showed improved defensive discipline but failed to capitalize on scoring chances in a goalless draw against Bandari at Kasarani Annex. Despite dominating large spells, Sofapaka squandered multiple opportunities, extending their poor run as they fight relegation. Bandari, who came into the match with renewed confidence, also failed to convert their chances in an evenly contested encounter. The result leaves Bandari 7th on the log, while Batoto Bamungu Sofapaka remain rooted at the bottom with their survival hopes hanging by a thread.
Kwa sababu game ya Ulinzi tulicheza vizuri sana kipindi cha kwanza, kipindi cha pili tuka collapse. Leo baada ya kuzungumza kabla ya mechi nilikwambia tunafanyia kazi sana confidence yao, na pia njia yetu ni nyembamba sana, so the right attitude na hizo vitu mbili imekuepo.
Better side first half, wamekuwa better side second half. Wote hatukutumia nafasi zetu. Katika kipindi cha kwanza ilikuwa ni sisi, kipindi cha pili imekuwa ni wao. But pia naweza kusema kwamba nimefurahishwa na jambo lingine, ni kwamba yule kijana Baraka Rogers under 21 debut yake ya kwanza amekeep clean sheet, good defending, so hiyo ni asset kwa team. So hizo ndio vitu mbili ambazo tunaweza toka nazo tukafikiria mchezo unaokuja, but maybe imekuwa ni hard luck to both sides, but 1 point na pia na clean sheet, we carry it from there.
All right, they say life begins at 40, but for us, 40 minutes past the top of the hour is that time to wrap it up for the Good Friday edition of the KUTV Prime Time News. Of course, a very good gratitude on your end for keeping it KUTV and choosing us to be your informer tonight. And also to the team that is braving through the holidays to be with us right here, led by my director, Ryan Gure, Levis Domoto, and also Melton Conchella, I believe, on the digital aspect, and Wahoo, the one lady who's keeping the balance within the room. And of course, the one man, Kevin, behind the camera, ensuring everything is coming to you spick and span and that I'm not darker than I should be. And on the other end, of course, you have Brighton of Luvandale, the man who has ensured today we have graphics flowing from the beginning to the end. Yo, bravo guys, and thank you for this wonderful teamwork. Well, from me, Emmanuel Kutosi, and my friend here on the sign language interpretation, that is Francis Okenye. It's good night to you, and also maybe a reminder within this Good Friday and the Easter season, but maybe this may be a beautiful reminder that perhaps the darkest of tombs can be a promise of brighter blooms. Good night, sweet dreams.